Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to this after lunch session. We were all talking about how tiring it is to listen to a session and look at the PPT after the um, lunch, but I'm sure we'll make it very, very fruitful and interesting for everyone. A little background of what we are going to talk today: removing barriers to drive access. It is more a question of equity today. That is, the children across the country, that is pan India, should be able to get the access to good international education without any barriers and without any hiccups. Whatever the processes that was set up years back for the admissions of the children, it is, I think, not in a dynamic mode. That is, we haven't changed over the years how we look at different educational systems, boards across the world. How do we decode? And here specifically, I'm talking about the largest board in India, that is Central Board of Secondary Education, which caters to about 1,500,000 children graduating every year. That is, it has more than 30,000 K-12 schools. That is, it is catering to the children who are about 3 years old up till 18 years old. And it is a board which is central. That means pan India schools, 30,000 schools, are affiliated to it. And the kind of objectivity that is there in examining the children, that kind of objectivity is probably not found anywhere in the school system across the globe. And here today we have with us Dr. Sayam Bharadwaj, who is the controller of examinations at CBSE, to decode the entire system of examinations and how the universities could read into the evaluation, could know a little about the system of examination, and also see as to how the universities can be benefited by getting to understand the system. Now, we started talking about this about 2 years back, and last year also during the same time, we had presented the first set of updates that had come in after the entire group started working. So we have Dr. Sayam Bharadwaj, Controller of Examinations, who has been working on the project. I have been associated with the project. We have Miss Michelle Whittingham, Associate Vice Chancellor, UC Santa Cruz. She's in the Presidential Forum moderating a parallel session. So Dr. Jay Shankar is going to be talking about the updates from the University of California system also. Dr. Jeet Joshi. Dr. Jay Shankar Raman is here. He's the Executive Director of International Affairs, California State University, Office of Chancellor, US. So he's going to handle both the systems today. We have Mr. Bob Benson, Senior Associate Director, Northeastern University, US, who's joining us from Boston. Who's online with us. We have Mr. Holly Singh also in the project. Louis is already here with us from he's the Regional Educational Advising Coordinator, South Asia Education USA. So the USA government is also represented here. And Mr. Swaraj Nandan, the co-founder of KIC Universist and IC3 Presidential Committee US. So he's the one who got all of us together in the project because he's the pivot around whom the entire project works. So the background is where we were comparing the CBSE system with the other international boards. To name a few, the International Baccalaureate, Cambridge, we were looking at the APs, and we were saying that why is it that the goodies that come towards the other international boards, they are not given to the students who are actually coming from the CBSE system. So the child who's actually giving the CBSE exam is preparing for the class 12 CBSE exam, which is absolutely objective, which is being taken by 1,500,000 children. And it's not an easy exam. All the heads who run the CBSE schools can vouch for that. They have to prepare for SAT if they decide to go to the US, or the ACT. So that's another pressure which is there on them. The third is the TOEFL or the IELTS exam that they have to prepare for. Though our children are studying in English medium for 14 years, so they know enough English to go to the English speaking countries and take on the higher education there. And the fourth is that these children, unfortunately, if they have to take any kind of credits, they have to give the AP exams also, or they do not graduate early, or it becomes even more pressure for them if they stay on during their holidays there and they try to finish their credits. So we said, if IB children can get the credits based on their mark sheets, why can't the CBSE students get the credits based on the mark sheets of CBSE? So we started decoding the entire system, first the application process of the universities. And for this, the systems that came forward, that is the UC system, Cal State system, University of Arizona system, we all came together under the mentorship of Swaraj, and we started talking and we started working on it. So we compared the syllabus and the content and the curriculum of CBSE, AP, IB, and Cambridge, and we found that CBSE was no less. So how do we decode? How do we read it? And then there are certain updates, and those updates will be shared by Shankar, who's also representing Michelle, and by Bo. And the problems, the problem statement would be put forth by Dr. Sayam Bharadwaj. So I invite Dr. Sayam Bharadwaj to come and take over.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Today is a very important day for the country, our country, means India, because we would be landing on moon. And hopefully this is not for the country, but for the entire humanity of the world, globe. We would be able to do something good. And every good thing could be done with the help of the education only. Not without education, we can't do anything else. So I'll be running through this presentation today, and I will try to decode the system of the CBSE adopted for the assessment of our students. So basically, I'll run through few slides, which are the common one or the normal one for the just for the sake of the introduction of the CBSE, that we are the pace setting national board, we are the government of India board, and we are not only in the country, but we are existing in 27 more countries that is outside India. Historical background is very, very special, that we started our journey in 1929. From 1929 we reached to 1952, where we were given the new name. Earlier we were known as the Board of High School and Intermediate Education Rajputana. We are having its headquarters at Ajmer, a very old building which was given to us by the then king on 1 rupees lease per annum. So that 1 rupees is also not being paid by us now. Now in 1952, we were given the name Central Board of Secondary Education, and in 1962 we came to Delhi, being the capital, and because it was decided that the government of Delhi schools will also be owned by we people. Now, this is the honogram of the organization. Our board falls under the jurisdiction or the power of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, and our controlling authority is the Secretary School Education. And after that, the chairperson, who is the controlling officer, controlling authority, and the CEO of the board. And thereafter, we are having the secretary, controller of examination, and other head of the departments. And the entire system of work is being looked after by the 17 regional offices across the nation, and all the schools which are falling under the means established on the land of the other countries, they are being taken care by the regional office, Delhi East, which is in Delhi itself. Now, for the history point of view, Dr. Zakir Hussain was the chairman of the CBSE from 1952 to 57. Thereafter, he was the vice president of India from 62 to 67, and then the president of India from 67 to 69. So, this is only that he was an academician, and we have got very good fertilizers or the support, I would say, to reach to this position so that we can serve to our youth. Now, past few chairman and the present chairman, this is with the thought that now the board is taken care by its alumni. Dr. Sadbir Bedi, who retired as the secretary in one of the department, now heading the Punjab Education Board as the chairperson. Miss Anita Karwal, she was the secretary school education and retired, and now she is working in the Gujarat state. Then Mr. Manoj Ahuja, he was the chairman of the CBSE, and now he is the Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture. And present Ms. Nidhi Chibbar, she is also a civil servant, and she is also an alumni of the CBSE only. So when some alumni is coming and heading the organization, different kind of vibrations are over there, and more work, more passion would be available. Now, mandate is certainly to conduct the boards examination of classes 10th and 12th. And for this, we are affiliating our schools, we are preparing our curriculum, we are going for the skill education, we are going for the training, lot of other things which are associated to just to develop our schools and provide a better education. We are taking that mandate on our role, and then we are working for it. Now, this is very important slide. By showing this, I would just like to show you the magnitude of the examination which is being conducted by the CBSE. This is basically pertaining to 2023 examination, where we have conducted the examination of 28,471 schools, which were in 27 countries abroad and in India. The number of students which have appeared in the examination, they were 3.89 million, and because nearly 6.5 subjects are offered by each and every student, so by virtue of this offering of these subjects, the total number of students or the total examination which have been conducted by the CBSE, that is 21.79 million. Number of rooms used for the conduct of examination, 0.91 million. The invigilators use 1.82 million. The number of subjects which are being offered by the CBSE, 76 at the secondary and 115 at the senior secondary level. Total 191, and this year we would be holding the examination of 202 subjects. Then the number of question paper which we are preparing, 0.004 million. Number of teachers which are being used by we people, that is 1.2 million. Number of questions prepared, this comes to 0.2 million. Number of pages printed in terms of the question papers, it is 326.8 million. Number of bags prepared for the supplying of the question paper to the centers, 0.109 million. The number of data filled for the preparation of the result, it is 65.36 million. The number of examination center, 0.00725. The number of evaluators which were used, nearly 0.1 million. So it is a very massive exercise which is being done by the CBSE just to ensure that the examination should be conducted correctly and the assessment should be in the real sense of the assessment. Now, this is the growth. In 1929, we started with the 29 schools, and today we are having more than 28,000 schools affiliated to the board in India and 27 countries abroad. Now, what we are teaching to our students, basically in our country, the education is the part of concurrent list, and accordingly, different responsibilities have been given to the different organization. Curriculum is framed by the National Council for Education, Research and Training, and that is being adopted by the CBSE. Now we are preparing the curriculum, and the assessment is being done by the CBSE, though the teaching learning activities or the practices being taken care by the school affiliated to the board. Now, prominently, there are four boards existing in our country. I would say five boards. At the national level, we are having the CBSE and Council for the Indian School Certificate Examination, and these are the two national board, I would say. And then we are having the two international board, that is IB and Cambridge. In addition to this, we are having some state boards also in most of all the states of the country. Now, this is the general status of the schools affiliated to the boards in India or abroad. This I'm just showing for just for the purpose of comparison. Now, the programs which are being offered by the CBSE, that 1 to 8 as of now is being taken care by the school itself. Now, secondary class 9th and 10th and senior secondary class 11th and 12th is being taken care by the CBSE. But with the introduction of the National Education Policy 2020 in coming years, we would see the changes in this method, that what would be the scenario that will be certainly shared when the national curriculum framework will be out and it will be implemented. Now, as far as the scheme of studies is concerned, we are asking the student to offer 5 minimum subjects, 1 language, 4 elective. So this is one thing. And the subjects which are being offered at the +2 level, that is 115. These subjects are consisting of the academic subject, skill subject, languages. Almost all the languages, scheduled languages are being offered by the CBSE, and many foreign languages are also being offered. And in addition to that, we are offering all the important academic courses, starting from physics, chemistry, maths to the legal studies and other subjects. Now, assessment by the CBSE, what is being done from 1st of January, we are conducting the practical examination. Internal assessment is done whole of the year. And then from 15th of February, we are holding the examination, because nearly 40,000 combinations of the subjects are offered by the CBSE students. So our day sheet for the conducting of the examination goes up to 55 days, 60 days. So this time certainly it would be 60 days, because we would be conducting the examination of 202 subjects. Now the result is declared by the May end, though it is our scheduled date, but certainly by working 24/7, we are trying to declare the result as early as possible. Now, important changes in the NEP 2020, what has been done, that many of the activities were introduced by the CBSE, and it was considered that these activities or the policy should be taken into the NEP also, so that each and every board would be offering the same kind of scheme. So we have introduced the 50% competency-based assessment, and this year in class 10th, we would be providing 50% questions for the competency, which would be on the competency base, and 40% in class 12. But next year, in 10th and 12th, in both the classes, we would be offering the 50% question, which would be competency-based question. Then internal assessment in all these subjects, because we wanted that, no, the teacher who is taking care of the students, he should be aware, and he's well aware about the performance of the students. So his or her contribution should also be taken care of while declaring the result. Then rigorous evaluation scheme with multiple checks, it is present. And then we are also providing the post-result opportunities to the students to ensure that no evaluation has been done perfectly. So that is one of the best feature which I consider is present in our board, so that a correct evaluation could be, or correct assessment is informed to the student. Now, many student enrichment activities are performed by us. It is mentioned over there: science exhibition, constitution of Ek Bharat Shresh Bharat clubs, Bhasha Sangam, Heritage India Quiz, or Art Integration Project, Aryabhat Ganit Challenge, CBSE Expression Series on arts and culture. And we are emphasizing a lot on sports also. It is not only one period per day is mandatory for each student for the sports, but we are also ensuring that if any of our student is participating in the national or international sports and their examinations are coinciding with the event. So we are holding their examination at a later date. And for the CWSN student also, we have provided a lot of flexibilities and facilities, not only in the curriculum transaction in the classes, but also when the examinations are being conducted. Now, this is one of our best feature, which is basically pertaining to you people. Why it is so? Because we are grading the students into 8 grades, and these grades are A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, D1, D2, like that only. How these grades are assigned? Say, I would just let you know that the topmost 1/8 of the total student appeared in the examination, they are assigned the A1 grade. Then the next 1/8 would be A2. Then next 1/8 would be C1, B1 and B2, C1 and C2. Now, this is by showing this table, I would just like to decode the entire thing. That considering that in subject one, total student appeared 1,50,000. So once the result is out, we will arrange all these students in the decreasing order of their marks secured in that particular subject. Total 1/8 student of the topmost marks will be awarded A1 grade. What is being done? Say, in case of the last number, if more number of students are over there, so the all the students are taken inside and they are given the same grade as it was assigned to the other students. It is basically the number of students who would be getting the A1, A2 would be depending on the number of students have appeared in the examination. Now, this is one very, very important slide. By going through this slide, you will come to know that what is the correct position. Say, go to here I have compared the result of or the grades awarded in last 5 years from 2020 2018 to 2022. You can see that the total number of students in 22 which were given the A1 grade were 84,426. Okay, and the marks range was 100 to 89. So if you will go through the slide, every time you would find that the marks range is nearly same, and the total number of students which are put in that particular bracket, they are also same. So because the very minute change is over there, which is basically depending on the number of students have opted that particular subject. So by showing this table, I wanted to show you that if the topmost one students are taken into account, so they are the best one in the entire nation. Where likewise we can go to the A2, they could be considered the second best one. So it is only physics subject I have taken, but this is the scenario with each and every subject which is being offered by the CBSE. Now, what I wanted to present before you all, that our students, at Jyoti ma'am has told you that our students are studying English for 14 years continuously, and our schools are known as the English medium schools. So they are very good at English, and they are performing very good also in the examination. So first thing is that the IELTS exam kind of examination, which are the English proficiency examination, these should be exempted when they are considered for the admission in the foreign universities. Likewise, for the set examination, though it has been done away by many of the universities, because in certain countries, the schools are offering the examination or schools are conducting the examination, but in the India, only one examination is conducted by the CBSE across the nation, and 27 countries abroad. So it is the standardized examination. Now, credit transfer, this is one very, very important issue, because we have compared, other universities have compared our result, our curriculum is at par to the other international curriculums. So when both the curriculums are at par, so the facility extended to the students of the other board should also be extended to the students passing from the CBSE. And third is the scholarship. How you can decide the scholarship? Scholarship could be decided based on the grades awarded to our students. Like I am saying, then 5 subjects, if all the grades are A1, they could be given the highest scholarship. That could be one thing which could be decided. Now, the another thing is why it is so. I have already explained you that IELTS, we are teaching the English for 14 years. There's the exemption from the set. Again, I inform you, So all these things have been intimated to you in my first slide only, that what are the cause, what are the reasons based on which, or the these are the outcomes of the studies which have been conducted by us with the help of the foreign institution. So these things would be certainly assisting to the students and to the universities in simplifying their admission process for the CBSE students. Now, what could be done from by the CBSE, that we can provide the API link to the universities so that they can have the real result, or the final result immediately the result is announced. A single contact program point could be created in the CBSE, and we can make the publicity also, or any other way by which the universities wanted to have the assistance from the CBSE. We can go for that. So with this, I would certainly submit before you that the students of the board are doing extremely well. And these are the students who are certainly behind the Chandrayaan kind of work which is being done in our country. So let's hope for the best, that our student would be able to do better, not for our country, but for the entire humanity across the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bharadwaj, for decoding the entire system for us. And I would also say, with the new National Education Policy 2020 and with the new NCF now, the National Curriculum Framework, which has come in now, there's a lot of outcome based education and competency based education. That is, there's a lot of focus on that. So I would say that the curriculum that is now come in is comparable to the finest curricula around the world. So there is no doubt that we will get traction. And the first university where we got the traction was actually the Northeastern University. And Bo is very kind to be up during this time and share the updates with us as to how has the Northeastern University, decoded the system and how they are helping the Indian students get all that we have wished for. Over to you, Bo.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'll try. I'm sorry for some little yawns earlier. It's still quite early here. Can everyone hear me? Just making sure.
Yes. Yes, we
Great. So Northeastern, we began in fall 2020 to award credit for both the CBSE and CISE exams. The decision was made after we were spending a lot of time looking at our applicant pool, and we were trying to identify ways where we could stand out and kind of be a different player in the market. We noticed that no other universities of our kind of stature were awarding credit, and we thought that this could be something where we could really make a difference and really kind of distinguish ourselves. The thing with Northeastern, we spend a lot of time preparing our students for what are called co-ops. They're like internships, but much bigger. And so for students to be able to successfully complete a certain number of co-ops, it's very beneficial for them to come in with a certain number of advanced credits. And so students from the AP exams or IB, A levels, they were all benefiting. And we have a large and increasingly large Indian student population. And so when you were comparing the two, initially students were not, they weren't graduating as early as some of the other students, simply because of the fact that they weren't coming in with as many credits. And so this kind of aligned with our goal of awarding more credits to students and ultimately allowing them to get out there for more of our what are called co-op experiences. And so the results, I mean, we've seen a huge increase in the number of applications from India. I think that's also been, a nationwide trend. But just in the last few years, the growth that we've had from India has been enormous. And then if you go to the next slide, So this is just some of the preliminary data, and hopefully it makes sense. You'll see on one side the Northeastern GPA. So this is the GPA of the student once they arrived on campus versus the exam result on the other side out of 100. And so this is every single subject. This does not, this is everything, both CBSE and CISE. And you can see that there's very much a correlation between, high performance in one and strong performance in the classroom. And this is, again, you'll see as it goes a little bit further, if you go to the next slide, they're broken down now into academic subject areas. And so business, this is any business or commerce related course, alongside courses completed by students at Northeastern's business school. So you can see again, obviously a correlation of some sorts, not as much on this one, but still, very strong, sorry, I meant to say correlation on this one. But you can see that students are performing well in one, they're performing well in the other. So that was something that we were excited to see. And if you go to the next one, again, this is a similar slide, but this is any STEM course. So it's any STEM exam from CBSE and any STEM course in our College of Engineering, College of Science, or College of Computer Sciences. And then the next one. This one I was fascinated to see. I'm not surprised, but I think it was great validation that this is any English exam result alongside Northeastern's first year writing course. Now, at Northeastern, we do not award credit for first-year writing from any type of exam. So this, not necessarily using this data point as a consideration for why we should not, or why we should award credit for this particular class, but more, being able to see that students are really coming in at the same level as any other student, whether you have an AP exam or an IB exam, A level, or standard 12, students are coming in at a very high level in terms of their performance in the classroom. If you go to the next slide. So this was the slide that I found the most interesting, or the data point that I found most interesting. So we looked at students, we essentially looked to see what credit they received from their CBSE exams. And then we looked to see what the subsequent course was. So if a student received credit for Calculus 1, we wanted to see how they did in Calculus 2. If they received credit for Physics 1, Physics 2, things along those lines. And you can see the subject down at the bottom, and you can compare the average GPA of students to the average GPA of students who were in, who received credit from an AP or an IB exam. And you can see that CBSE and CISE are very much, holding their own, and in some areas actually outpacing both the IB and AP curriculum. So I think that's a really fascinating slide. That really, I think that will be a trend that we continue to see. But I was happy to see it validated in early this kind of first round of review for us. This is the first time that we've gone back and looked to see how students are performing in the classroom since we began awarding credit in fall 2020. And then this, to be honest, the screen's a little blurry on my end at the moment. So I'm trying to remember the exact order that everything goes in. So this is first semester GPA and average current GPA based on the exam type that were submitted. So you can see where, where everything kind of lines up, and you can see that, again, the standard 12 boards are holding, very much, following suit with the other examinations. Students are performing or at the same level. You're not seeing, a significant gap in any area. So I think this is a really, telling slide again of the curriculum and how it's come so far in such a short period of time, or these last few years, especially, at least for us, seeing this growth and the strength of the applicant coming to Northeastern, at least, from either curriculum. But yeah.
Bo,
so that was just a brief kind of look at us. If anyone has questions, let me know.
So Bo, we're going to hold off for questions till the end.
Sure.
But thank you so much for your presentation.
Absolutely.
Should I continue? Okay. um, we've been working for so long that we're almost like friends right now. So no formal introduction needed here. Jaishankar Raman, I come from the California State University in the Office of the Chancellor. Just wanted to give you a brief update on where we are at. This was a project, as Ms. Jyoti Gupta talked about. I want to thank Swaraj and Lewis here, because it's their support as well that helps us. And so what we have is from the largest high school system to the largest public university system. This was a conversation that started about 2 years ago, and what we wanted to do was to see how we can partner with this. I myself am not a product of CBSE. I was a state board student, but I had enough family relatives who rubbed their high grade points in my face from the CBSE. So I'm a victim of CBSE, but that's okay. But we have a largest system here, about 470,000 students, 23 campuses, 55,000 faculty. So a remarkably large institution spread all across the state of California with a significant state support, which is important. Our mission is to educate our students at making sure that there's quality education provided at a very affordable price, and with a very singular focus on making sure that students that graduate are employed and they contribute to the society. So I apologize for this slide because this doesn't look very good here, but let me give you a brief update on what this is. Part of what we are also seeing is that this is the largest system with 23 campuses. I do want to acknowledge I have a few colleagues who came here from the CSUs who are actively working on this project update. So I have Steve here from Chico State, Adiba from San Jose State, and Marcus from Long Beach, sort of spreading across the CSU system. And they are working on the CBSE project for us on the campus level. And one of the things that is unique about our system is that a significant number of our students are first generation students. So the access point is very, very important. These are students that come from financially challenged backgrounds as well. So affordability is very, very important. And that affordability translates for international students as well. So if you compare the international student fees across the US, we are perhaps one of the most affordable university system in the country for international students to come and study. What you're also finding is that we don't necessarily have as many international students as you'd be surprised. I think that's something that always surprised me. 1 in 20 Americans graduated from a CSU. Which is a remarkable achievement to be considered. 10% of our workforce in California comes from the CSU. And we are also one of the largest university system to educate the teachers for the country. And I think that that's important, considering that our colleagues here come from schools, and it's a very unique achievement for us. Our 23 campuses can be found across the 800 miles of California, from San Diego all the way up north to the Oregon border. And the singular focus is to make sure that these institutions are serving the citizens of that state, and also serving people that are looking for high quality education. Our universities are some of the larger ones are up to 40,000 students, but many of them are in the 10 to 15,000 student range. So students find this to be a much more personalized place to study. San Jose State is one of the oldest, keeping in mind that this system was created in the 60s by the state to say that rather than have these disparate 23 campuses, let's put them all together into one unified system, and the state was able to provide a budget. I am also providing an update on my colleague Michelle's work in the UC system. So just to give you an idea, there are 3 educational systems in the United States, in California: the UC systems, the CSU, and the community colleges. Each has a singular focus on what they need to be doing, but the primary idea is that you need to educate the workforce of California, and that's what this is all about. So why did we get involved in this project? I've been in the field of international education for Well, I've been in international education for 35 years as of tomorrow. Back in 1988, I left on August 24th. But in the international education field, I've been for about 15 to 20 years. And I understand the CBSE system very well, and I understand the value that it brings. I understand the students that are coming to the United States from these systems. So when I looked at the CSU, my work happens to be at the central level in the chancellor's office, but my colleagues here come from their individual campus, and they run for their international offices in their own campuses. So what happened was I brought this to the system, and I talked about this to see how can we do this at a system level. And you can imagine with 500,000 students, 55,000 faculty, if I tried to move this elephants, it's not going to move as fast. So I needed to go someplace else. So I went to the campuses and I said, and we have the ability for campuses to make sure that they can award credit. So I started working with the campuses to say, okay, let's try to figure out where this can be done. And the first campus that I actually worked with is CSU East Bay, which is also in the Bay Area on the other side. In our infrastructure, we have to engage with the director of undergraduate education, the director of sort of admissions, and also to work in the provost's office. So we did that. We had curriculum that was sent by Dr. Bharadwaj and Dr. Gupta. And so we looked at the curriculum. We said, okay, how does this map to what we are doing in our campuses? And then we looked at what we need to be doing for our students. So CSU as a system has a general education requirement, and that is system-wide. So all universities, all the CSUs will have this. And these are divided into different areas. So a student who's studying in this in a CSU has to fulfill these different criteria or different coursework, and then also work on their major. So you're familiar that in the US education system, you have to do general education courses. And in the CSUs, we kind of made it this way. And this is a sort of a living document in some ways, because that last area F, which is ethnic studies, was added just in the time of pandemic. It was a new addition to recognize that California is an ethnically diverse state. It's almost like a country, but we wanted to have education that catered to that, to talk about that, right? To look at the different ethnicities. So the work that was done in East Bay, and which was then followed in Chico, was to say, okay, let's take a look at our criteria, our requirements, and see what the CBSE courses are and how we can work with this. I was struck by our keynote speaker today, who talked about how software, you don't necessarily go and rewrite the whole software. So Bo, thank you so much for all the work that you did, because we basically took their template and we said, well, what's good for Northeastern can certainly be good for us. So we didn't go back into kind of debating whether this is what we want to do. We said, okay, if that's working there, let's find out how it works with the CSU system. And so I'm happy to share that, there were some enthusiastic responses to this. And my task is to work with different campuses within the system. And what we are getting towards is up to 30 credits can be awarded to a student coming out of the CBSE. And those doesn't fulfill the criteria that we are looking at. So this can be in terms of general education courses. The primary reason for this, for me personally, as somebody coming from this country, is to recognize the rigor of a curriculum. Because in the international education field, oftentimes we get jaded by saying, oh, this country, their education system is not really good. We're going to make them jump through 3 more hoops before they can get into this. And for me, this recognition of the curriculum was important. From a student's point of view, if they are going to take this, it reduces their tuition. It gives them actually more opportunities to add another major, add different minors, and kind of enrich their curriculum, right? Enrich their degree program. And so that's something that I'm also kind of interested in doing. So currently, I'm happy to state that we have several campuses that have signed on to this. There are more that are signing on as we speak. This is work of diplomacy. You have to go in and kind of talk to these different campuses to say, okay, let's try to make this happen. So that's what we're doing right now. East Bay, Chico is in, Sacramento at the state capitol, Long Beach, one of the bigger campuses, and Sonoma State and San Jose State are tentatively working on this. Keep in mind that they also have to sort of maneuver within their bureaucracy to make sure that this happens. So this is an exciting status right now for us, that we finally can allow for CBSE students to get credit for the courses that they're taking. So no, it is a celebration, because I think that this is important. So we are using similar criteria that Bo was talking about. I'm very happy that Bo shared the data that he has, because that again reinforces exactly what we're trying to do. So we're not going into this blind. We know exactly what we're going to get. And this is a way to recognize this. So that's the path that we're going to be following. And from our side, this is what we're trying to do. We need to operationalize this, so we will try to work with that. But I just want to give one plug to our Indian chess champion, who is now playing for the World Championship right now. So we have the landing on the moon, and keep in mind, this is historic. I mean, on TV you see Apollo 11, and you think, where were you on Apollo 11? Today we're here. We'll never forget that. So thank you for doing that. And I'll let Swaraj take over at this point.
Yeah, well, Louis, why don't you share your thoughts in terms of how we can take this, and then I'll comment.
Absolutely. I'll be brief. So again, my name is Louis Cardenas, and I have the pleasure of working with Education USA. I've now been in India about two plus years now. So as soon as I started, I had the honor of joining the committee. Having worked on the university side, I've worked with thousands of CBSE students. So I was very excited to learn about this initiative. My job on the committee has been to report back to the U.S. Embassy and consulates. I've had the pleasure of accompanying our teams and speaking to guidance counselors. I can't tell you, the minute I mention this, the eyes light up, and they're so excited. As you can imagine, the U.S. embassies and consulates are also very excited. We continue to strive to be the #1 destination for Indian students abroad. Additionally, why this is so important to us, especially for those of you that are U.S. university reps, we're trying to bridge the gap and trying to promote undergraduate education, right? India's mostly seen as a graduate market, but this is absolutely going to help balance that out, and hopefully in the next 5-10 years, India will be more of an undergraduate market. Who knows? Additionally, why this is important too is obviously with the India diaspora population, our teams at Education USA are constantly advising students in the Middle East and Africa as well that are taking a CBSE curriculum, in addition to dual U.S. citizens abroad. Those of you here in Hyderabad alone, there are lots of U.S. citizens that are CBSE curricula students. So this is also going to be definitely a huge advantage for them, because they struggle to try to convince the U.S. universities to recognize the CBSE. And obviously for them, additionally, language is not the language scores, or having to take the TOEFL or IELTS, even though they were born in the US, but have grown up here too. So those are just a few of the reasons why we're super excited about this. We talked about this as stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. I think we're at stage 2.5. It's 2.5 now. So my next goal will be to actually invite those and at the US Embassy in Delhi that are directly working with the Indian government for educational policy to now jump on the committee, and I still hope to be a part of this journey, and I'm honored to be part, I think, of this revolution to push schools to consider CBSE as on par with the IB and other international curriculums. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Louis. And I want to say today is not only the Chandrayaan thing, but it is actually the 2-year anniversary of the first meeting we had, because it was after the gala dinner that we sat for half an hour and we said, what if we could just do something to help the CBSE students, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to impact millions of students directly, right? Like take away their barriers. What could be more exciting? So here are the next steps. Thank you for sharing all the details. But if you really look at how massive this task is. We were actually able to get together as a group with the CBSE chairperson who gave us the okay to share data, with the universities. That was one. And then, people like Shankar navigating these huge ships and trying to move them, and then finding ways to work individually with you so that we can have some early wins. But, a story comes to mind, rather than just read these things. I remember when American Express wanted to enter India and offer credit cards. So in the US, all our US folks, we have negative credit bureau in the US. So if you want to offer a credit card, you hit, you do a credit inquiry against the person's bureau. If they are good, they've been paying everyone, I offer them a credit card. In India, there was no credit bureau. So the massive task was that you would have to establish a big risk management function. They would try to find information sources to see whether you are credit worthy, and then offer you, a credit card. The leader in the market was Citibank. And they had already figured out a great algorithm to figure out who to give a credit card to and who not to give a credit card to. So American Express said, either I could, invest a ton of money in establishing this thing, or this is what they did. If you got off a plane and you were coming outside, there'd be an Amex person standing out there with an application form and said, sir, do you have a Citibank credit card? If you had a Citibank credit card, they would approve you the next morning, because they had already figured out that Citibank had invested the money and figured out who to give a credit card to. So why should we spend all the effort to do that? Here, Bo has done the effort for us, right? And thanks to him, he has, really thanks to him, he's been open to share the data with us, not only about what they did since 2019, but to see the results, that the fact is they took a risk, but it has already paid off, right? He's sharing the data that the CBSE students are keeping up, and it's okay to give them credit. So as people from the university community, how can we leverage that fact and really move this forward? So as next steps, basically what we're saying is, one, we want to take this message to the CBSE community, to the 28,000 plus schools, and tell them, listen, because this is all about communication. The fact is, people like Bo are already offering credits to the students. I don't know how many CBSE principals already know that, or CBSE counselors know that. So one of our major tasks over the next 6 months is to take the message to them. The second important opportunity is to take this to the US universities, and really tell them, listen, we have other universities that are looking into it. We have massive systems like the CSU system that are looking into it. Would you be willing to pilot, test it out, see if it works for you? But we have some early results that we can share with you, right? So that's the second thing. And to do that, we are really hoping that as a community, we present at international conferences and really take the message wider to a wider audience. So that is our game plan. Yeah, Shankar. Please do come.
So, for fear of being being chastised by Michelle, the UC system has been also working on this. The University of California, there are 9 universities, but they are taking the approach of working it at the central system. So their central system is evaluating a unified kind of credit granting program. And so they're actually working on that right now. So Michelle has been spearheading that effort. And so wait for updates on that. They're not there yet, but they're certainly keen. They have a meeting in October that they're going to be looking at this. And I'm hoping that they have a document coming up. So perhaps not for fall 24. I don't know if that's possible, but certainly that's coming very soon. So, but yeah, just wanted to say that because I forgot.
Great. And Michelle is here, but she's at the presidential forum, and she's actually moderating the session. So there was no way we could have pulled her out of that. So if for US universities who are in the room, and if you want to join the effort, we have a QR code. Hopefully that works because the slide is a bit distorted. But if you can get it, you can come around here. You can scan it after the presentation is done. And we would love for you to join the effort. We will keep you updated of about how the project is going, and also share data. Like we will share our learnings and share data with you so that you can navigate your internal, with your internal leadership. But this really has the opportunity to massively change the enrollment landscape for US universities. We're talking millions of students here. So currently we have about 200,000 Indian students. And when you actually look at the undergrads, that's about 30 to 40,000 students. So we're not talking about much. Just by this alone, I'm very curious to see that in 2024, when we open it with the CSUs, what's going to happen to the enrollment trends. So, we'll keep you updated. Definitely here at IC3, but even through the group that we will form with the QR code. So yes, our time's up. I know if you have questions, we'll stay here, and be happy to exchange information and share, and answer your questions if you have any. Thank you so much for having us.